I'm Jeffrey Daugherty. This is Unindoctrinated, and we are back in our first segment. We tied the Red Letter Bible and its supporters back to Barack Obama, Bill Clinton, abortion, and the rape of Monica Lewinsky, but not much goes on here. It's just a boring little radio program where not much happens. This is cutting edge, top shelf radio. This is Unindoctrinate. I'm Jeffrey Daugherty, and probably one of the reasons I feel so top shelf, one of the reasons I feel so powerful is because I'm working with powerful people like the Stem Light Stem Cell Company, umbilical cord stem cells, doing miraculous things in people's lives. If you're suffering from chronic illness, if you're suffering from disease, if you're suffering from injury, go to my website right after this show, jeffreydaugherty.com. Click on the Stem Light logo. Talk to the people down at Stem Light. Talk about your injuries. Talk about your symptoms, and they will give you a full 20% off. Sorry, you can't be the first one. We've had other people now that have taken advantage of this through this great offer, but they will help you out. And if you're a doctor, then you know how great stem cells are at helping people with all types of things, and you're just deciding who to work with. Well, if you are a doctor and you want to work with the best stem cell company out there, the one that is partners with the National Football League Alumni Association, just go to southernstem.com. And not only will you get 20% off if you're a regular person, doctors, you won't believe the things that Stem Light will do for you by working through us with southernstem.com. Use the code word HEAL in both occasions, whether you're an individual and you go to jeffreydaugherty.com and click on the Stem Light logo, or you're a doctor and you go to southernstem.com, use that word HEAL. But that's one of the reasons I'm so fired up, because I'm changing the world. I am changing the world, ladies and gentlemen, on a nightly basis. Rocky Stucci's Situation Room, get you all fired up, ready to rock and roll. And I get a warmed up audience to come right in here and speak change and power in the midnight hour. It doesn't get any better than this, ladies and gentlemen. And by the way, we just finished up talking about the Red Letter Christian movement, how it is started by the Jesuits, how it is continued and empowered today by the deep, dark left, the deep state, people that believe and defend in the butchering of millions of innocent children, people that believe and defend in the rape of interns by men in power. That's what the Red Letter Bibles are from. Think about that next time you hear someone talk about being a red letter Christian. Think about that next time you pick up a Bible with the red letters. Think about that the next time you pick up a Bible. But anyway, the process of turning the letters red within the Bible, it's a process called rubrification. Rubrification. And folks, don't you know that these people in power laugh at you? Don't you know these people in power sit back behind the curtains and have a great time thinking about how stupid we are and how much they mess with us and how they're able to make us to be idiots and continue to follow them? Do you know what the word rubrification is based upon? Rubrification means to make the letters red. Your red letter Bible is rubrified, or rubricated, probably is the right word. Your red letter Bible is rubricated. Do you know what a rube is? A rube is an awkward or an unsophisticated person. They think you're awkward. They think you're unsophisticated. And you know what unsophisticated is? Unsophisticated is a $5 word for stupid. Unsophisticated is a polite word for stupid. They think you're stupid. A rube is a naive or an inexperienced person. They think you're naive. And they're right. If you're still calling yourself a red letter Christian, you are naive, you are awkward, you are unsophisticated. Everything within me wants to say the S word, but I'm not going to do it. If you are A red letter Christian will continue to be so after what you just heard. You're inexperienced, you're naive, you're awkward, you're unsophisticated, and yes, ladies and gentlemen, you're stupid. Ignorant means I didn't know. Stupid means I know, but I still did. You know the origins and the empowerment of the red letter movement as it stands today. If you want to keep being a part of it, well, that's up to you. I can't make changes in your life. I can't do anything to help you except bring you the information. Here's another thing, ladies and gentlemen. Here I am bringing you the information that you're not going to hear anywhere else. Here I am bringing the information that no one else will tell you. And I was called by somebody that got all mad, was stomping up and down and crying and all red-faced. I got called a contrarian. You're just a contrarian. And at first I was a little insulted because I don't know what a contrarian is. And I looked up the word, and a contrarian is a person who speaks out against the dominant paradigm and the common way of thinking about things. So guess what? I am a contrarian and happy to be so. So I am your midnight contrarian. And this is Unindoctrinate. I'm Jeffrey Daugherty, your midnight contrarian, speaking power into your midnight hour. And ladies and gentlemen, I want you to know, a lot of you have been worried about this. A lot of you have been concerned about this. A lot of you have been feeling bad about this. But you've been lied to. You've been cheated on. It's just like a country song. Everything that the media has been saying about the Amazon, including that it's the lungs of the world, is wrong and not true. Coming to you from Forbes magazine, an article written by Michael Schellenberger, who writes about energy and the environment. Mr. Schellinger writes, the increase in the fires burning in Brazil set off a storm of international outrage. Celebrities, environmentalists, and political leaders blaming the Brazilian president for destroying the world's largest rainforest, the Amazon, which they say is the lungs of the world. First of all, let me just stop you right there, ladies and gentlemen. When I grew up, and up until things really went crazy and people really went unsophisticated, where did this term rainforest come from? Rainforest sounds very fragile. Rainforest sounds very, we got to protect it. It's a rainforest. Rainforest sounds so lovey-dovey. You can imagine unicorns bounding through the rainforest. It ain't a rainforest. It's a jungle. It's always been a jungle. It'll always be a jungle. And it ain't all that fragile. It's the jungle. But we want to call it the rainforest so we can make people feel guilty. We want to call it the rainforest so we can control people, take more of their money, control more of their lives. We want to keep people afraid of destroying the lungs of the world. We want to keep people afraid of destroying the rainforest. We want to keep people feeling guilty about destroying the rainforest. You're destroying the lungs of the world. Oh my God. And that allows you to be held under control. It's not the rainforest. It's the damn jungle. It isn't fragile. It'll kill you. The jungle is vibrant. The jungle is strong. It's not a rainforest. Don't even use that word anymore. Next time somebody says rainforest, if they're within the reach of your arm, slap the shit out of them. Not really. But rhetorically slap them. Tell them it's not a rainforest, it's a jungle, bitch. Well, you might not want to say the bitch part. But then again, you might. That's a way to get the party started. That's my idea of partying right there, cousins. But it's not a rainforest. It's a jungle. And it's not the lungs of the world. Sorry, Madonna. Sorry, Jaden Smith. Sorry, Leonardo DiCaprio. They all shared photos that they said were of the Amazon burning. Tens of millions of people saw those on social media. Cristiano Ronaldo, a damn soccer player. Jeff, it's not called soccer, it's called football. No, it's not, it's called soccer. But Jeff, it's the most popular sport in the world. It can't be the most popular sport in the world if the most powerful nation on the earth doesn't give a damn about it. I was being ugly American there for effect. We don't care about soccer. We're never going to care about soccer. It's never going to be popular. We would still rather watch grass grow and paint dry than watch the World Cup, especially the bitches World Cup. I mean, the women's World Cup. Sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. But the Amazon jungle does not produce 20% of the world's oxygen, says Cristiano Ronaldo. Well, it does, but it doesn't, and we'll get into that. And the Amazon is not on fire. It's not burning out of control. The lungs of the world are not burning, regardless of what Madonna and Jaden Smith and Leonardo DiCaprio and some damn soccer player that nobody's ever heard of, unless you're into that stuff, which nobody's into. And if you weren't sure it was a joke, now you can be sure, because the French president, Emmanuel Macron, has weighed in and says the 20% of the world's oxygen supply is in danger. That's stupid, ladies and gentlemen. President Macron doesn't know what he's talking about. Little problem, ladies and gentlemen, just a little technical thing. The photos that Madonna posted, the photos that Jaden Smith posted, the photos that Leonardo DiCaprio posted weren't really of the fires, and they weren't really of the Amazon. Do you really think Madonna, Smith, DiCaprio, they really sit down and think and worry about things? They're Hollywood insiders. You know what they're doing? And the last thing they're doing is worried about anything that's real, because guess what, ladies and gentlemen? The photo that Ronaldo shared was taken in southern Brazil, far from the Amazon, and it was taken in 2013. For those of you that aren't keeping track, this is 2019. The picture that soccer boy showed is 6 years old. But that's actually the most current one. Because the ones that Leonardo DiCaprio showed was over 20 years old. And the photo that President Macron that he showed is over 20 years old. And there's photo that Madonna showed and that Jaden Smith, I'm not sure if he's a boy or a girl, the one that she showed is over 30 years old. And some other celebrities showed photos from Montana, India, and Sweden. Are you hearing what I'm saying? Oh my God, the Amazon's burning. Oh my God, the lungs of the world are burning. The rainforest slapped. The jungle's burning. Madonna says so. Jaden Smith says so. Leonardo DiCaprio says so. Cristiano Ronaldo says so. President Macron says so. Except their pictures are 6 years old, 20 years old, 30 years old, respectively. Their pictures are from Montana, India, Sweden. And the hoax is so bad that CNN and the New York Times had to come out and say, and had to debunk the photos and the misinformation about the fires. Deforestation is neither new nor limited to one nation, CNN was forced to admit. The fires were not caused by climate change, said the New York Times. Well, Jeff, how come we saw all the pictures and we saw all the big headlines? Because when they say something that's meant to get you into fear, that's meant to get you into control, or fear and guilt that makes you easier to control, they say it on the front page. They yell and scream it by, Fredo screams it on CNN. Yo, Fredo! Fredo screams it out on CNN. Anderson Vanderbilt. Anderson Cooper. Anderson Vanderbilt screams it out on CNN. Yo, Fredo. Yo, Vanderbilt, what's up? But when they print a retraction, it's buried on page 27 of the website. New York Times, it's back there in between the ads for transsexual prostitutes and genital wart cures. You're being lied to. You're being lied to keep you in fear. You're being lied to keep you feeling guilty. And as long as you're fearful and guilty, you're very, very, very easy to control. Better yet, if you're unarmed, and we'll get to that one day too. But it's meant to keep you fearful. Oh, my God, the planet's burning. It's meant to make you feel guilty. Oh, my God, it's because I drive an SUV. And that makes it easy for you to control, ladies and gentlemen. Now, what about this idea that the Amazon produces 20% of the planet's oxygen? What about this idea that the lungs of the world are on fire? It's bogus. They're not. And just because the Amazon is often referred to as earth lungs doesn't mean it really is. Don't you know that they try to repeat lies as often as possible because they believe if they repeat them often enough, sooner or later, somebody's going to believe them. Let's read the words of one of the world's leading Amazon forest experts. His name is Dan Nepstad. And the writer of this article, again, one Mr. Michael Schellenberger, talked to this expert, the world's leading expert, ladies and gentlemen, one of the world's leading experts on the Amazon forest, Dan Nepstad. And he asked him, Mr. Nepstad, what do you think about the claim that the Amazon is often referred to as the earth lungs? Now, Mr. Nepstad is a scientist. Mr. Nepstad is a very well-learned individual. Mr. Nepstad is very, very smart. He speaks a very, very high language. He uses very, very complicated scientific terms, and this is a complicated scientific term. You might have a little difficulty deciphering it, so get your dictionary ready. And I'm sorry, I keep forgetting. Michael asked Mr. Nepstad, what do you think about the world's leading Amazon experts? What do you think about this claim that the Amazon is the lungs of the world and that 20% of the lungs of the world are being destroyed? In scientific terminology, Dan Nepstad said, quote, "It's bullshit," unquote. Quote, "There's no science behind that. The Amazon produces a lot of oxygen, but it uses the same amount of oxygen through its own respiration, so it's a wash." Let me read that again. I don't care what you've heard. I don't care what Madonna says and Jaden Smith says and the soccer player says and President Macron says and Leonardo DiCaprio says. The world's leading Amazon forest expert says the idea that it's burning, the idea that 20% of the world's lungs are burning is, in scientific terms, bullshit. It's a direct quote. He said it's bullshit. The Amazon produces a lot of oxygen, but it uses a lot of oxygen in its own respiration, so it's a wash. Here's how it works. We're back to Biology 101. Plants, boys and girls, use respiration to convert nutrients from the soil into energy. They use photosynthesis to convert light into chemical energy, which can later be used in respiration. Yes, they put out oxygen, but they use that oxygen themselves to do these processes of building the freaking jungle. Well, Mr. Expert, and what is the expert's name? I'm so excited tonight, I can't remember people's names. but I'll start remembering them. Dan Nepstad was asked another question. What about the New York Times claim, Mr. Nepstad, that if enough rainforest slap yourself jungle is lost and can't be restored, the area will become savanna, which doesn't store as much carbon, meaning a reduction in the planet's lung capacity? Also not true, said Nepstad, who was a lead author of the most recent Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change report. The Amazon produces a lot of oxygen, but get ready for this. So do soy farms, and so do cattle pastures. They're telling you that all the cattle do is burn and create methane, butane, some other damaging, horrible thing. I think it's methane. Burn. But they also produce a lot of oxygen. A lot of oxygen. The lungs myth is the tip of the iceberg. CNN, home of Fredo, and of Anderson Vanderbilt, a.k.a. Anderson Cooper, they ran a long segment with the banner, "Fires burning at a record rate in Amazon forest." While another reporter claimed the fires are without precedent in the last 20 years. It's never happened before. The reality, folks, is that the number of fires in 2019 is 80% higher than it was in 2018. But it's just 7% higher than the average over the last 10 years. It's just 7% higher than the average over the last 10 years. In other words, the sky is not falling, Chicken Little, nor are the lungs of the earth burning. Do you really think that if this was going on, they'd have to come up with pictures that are 6 years old, 20 years old, 30 years old? No. Anderson Vanderbilt and Fredo would be down there with cameras filming it. But they can't because it's not true. It's not true. It's not true. It is being done to stoke up fear, to stoke up guilt, to keep you, ladies and gentlemen, under control. It's just that simple. Brazil's leading news magazine has been shaped by reporting on the ground in the Amazon for Veja, Brazil's leading news magazine, for a decade. Those correspondents from the New York Times to CNN have never even been to the fires. They're 2,500 miles and 4 hours by plane away. The people on the ground say what's happening in the Amazon is not exceptional. The present moment does not justify global hysteria. Say the people on the ground. Why the people 2,500 miles away yell and scream about the fragile rainforest being destroyed when the hardy jungle is doing just fine. Thank you. Thank you. The photo that Macron and DiCaprio tweeted doesn't happen in the Amazon, says the local experts. The Amazon forest fires, here's why we don't see any pictures, ladies and gentlemen. Amazon forest fires are hidden by the tree canopy and only increase during drought years. We don't know if there is any more forest fires this year than in past years, which tells me there probably isn't, says Nepstad, the expert. I've been working on studying these fires for 25 years, and our on-the-ground networks are tracking this. The guy that's been tracking it for 25 years says, don't worry. And the reason there's an increase in 2019 is because the fires of dry scrub and trees cut down for cattle ranching as a strategy to gain ownership of land. Against a picture painted of an Amazon on the verge of disappearing, says this expert, 80% of the Amazon remains standing. And over half of that is protected against deforestation under federal laws of the country. In fact, CNN, New York Times, President Macron, all these people won't tell you this, but in reality, there's been a dramatic drop in deforestation in Brazil since 2000. Deforestation has declined. Deforestation has declined 70% from 2004 to 2012. It's modestly risen since then. Listen to this. It remains at only 25% of what it was in 2004. And, by the way, only 3% of the Amazon is suitable for soy farming. Folks, the experts say they don't like the narrative right now because it's polarizing and it's divisive. It's ridiculous. None of these things are true. And again, it's being used to keep you in fear and to keep you in guilt so you're easily controlled. Ladies and gentlemen, the Amazon is not burning. The lungs of the world are not on fire. The pictures are 6, 20, 30 years old. People in New York and in LA don't know what the hell they're talking about. The people on the ground say the situation is better than it's ever been since 2004. We're being lied to. We're being guilt-tripped. And they're trying to keep us in control. If it's not the red letters in some book that's designed to keep us under control, it's the fear and the guilt that we're burning down the planet. They either want you in fear over the guilt of you killing Jesus and are you going to be able to do enough to make it right, or they're going to keep you in fear and guilt for burning down the world. The whole idea is they want to keep you under control, ladies and gentlemen. And I'm here to help set you free. I'm here each night at Unindoctrinate to bring you good news and to set you free. We're the last generation of real humans. Let's get busy, and if we do, we can change things. I'm Jeffrey Daugherty. I'll see you again tomorrow night.